Everyone told me how lucky I was. Sarah's amazing. I wish I had an assistant like that. She's so on top of everything. And they were right. She was on top of everything. Just not for me. For herself. Every client inquiry that came through our main line, Sarah fielded it. Every email to my business address, Sarah screened it. Every referral from my network, Sarah handled it. And I thought she was being efficient, protecting my time, managing the workload. But she wasn't managing anything. She was filtering, taking the best opportunities, forwarding them to her own company, telling me the inquiry wasn't a good fit, or that the client decided to go elsewhere, or that the budget was too small. All lies. And I believed every one. Until I switched email hosting providers and had to export our entire email history. 3 years of server logs. Every sent message. Every forwarded email. Every client interaction. All there. All proving that my trusted assistant had been systematically stealing my business while I paid her to do it. My name is James Morrison. I'm 48 years old. I run a business consulting firm in Denver, Colorado. Morrison Strategy Group. It's just me. Well, it was me and Sarah, my assistant. Or so I thought. I started the firm 12 years ago after spending 15 years in corporate strategy. Big companies, big budget, big stress. I wanted something different. A boutique practice. High-quality consulting for small to mid-sized businesses. Strategy development. Process optimization. Growth planning. It went well. I built a solid reputation. Word of mouth brought steady work. Within 5 years, I was making good money. But I was drowning in administrative work. Emails, scheduling, proposals, invoicing. All the business operations that took time away from actual consulting. That's when I hired Sarah Chin. She was 29, sharp, organized. Had worked as an executive assistant at a consulting firm before. Her references were glowing. Best assistant we ever had. Incredibly reliable. Anticipates needs before you ask. She started in January 2020, right before the pandemic hit, which meant we quickly shifted to remote work. Sarah working from her apartment, me from my home office. We'd meet via video call, collaborate on documents. She had access to all my systems, email, calendar, client database, proposal template. I'll handle the client communications, she said early on. You focus on the consulting work. I'll screen calls, respond to inquiries, schedule meetings, keep the pipeline moving. It made sense. That's what assistants do. And Sarah was good at it, really good. Within months, my calendar was perfectly managed. Proposals went out promptly. Client communications were professional and timely. You're incredible, I told her during one of our weekly check-ins. I don't know how I managed without you. That's why you hired me, she said with a smile. To make your life easier. And she did. For 3 years, my life was easier. I focused on client work, delivered strategies, helped businesses grow. Sarah handled everything else. Revenue stayed steady. Not growing dramatically, but consistent, which I attributed to the pandemic. Businesses were cautious. Budgets were tight. I was lucky to maintain my client base. A lot of inquiries aren't converting, Sarah would report. Economy's tough. People are asking for quotes, but not moving forward. Made sense. I didn't question it. Then, in early 2023, I decided to change email providers. My current hosting was outdated. Limited storage. Poor security. A colleague recommended a better service. More professional. Better features. The migration required exporting all our email history. Sarah offered to handle it. I'll take care of the transfer. You don't need to worry about the technical stuff. But I was curious. Wanted to see how the process worked. Understand the backend. So I did it myself. The export created a massive file. 3 years of emails. Every message sent and received through our company domain. I uploaded it to the new system. Everything transferred smoothly. Then, out of curiosity, I started browsing through the archive. Not snooping, just exploring, seeing how the data was organized. That's when I noticed something odd. Forwarding patterns. Lots of emails being forwarded from Sarah's account to an external address. sarah.chun.consulting@differentdomain.com. I clicked on one. An inquiry from a potential client. Manufacturing company in Boulder. Looking for operational strategy work. Budget of $50,000. Exactly my specialty. Sarah's response: thank you for your interest. Unfortunately, James is fully booked for the next 6 months. However, I can recommend an excellent alternative consultant who specializes in this area. Attached was a proposal from Chun Strategic Solutions, offering the same services I would have provided, at a slightly lower rate, $42,000. I felt cold. Clicked on another forwarded email. Same pattern. Client inquiry. Sarah saying I was too busy or too expensive. Recommendation for Chun Strategic Solutions. Another. Dozens. Hundreds. I opened a spreadsheet. Started tracking them. Counting how many inquiries had been diverted. How much revenue. 3 years of client inquiries. Systematically forwarded to Sarah's personal business. A business I didn't even know existed. My hands were shaking as I calculated. At least 60 major projects. Contracts ranging from $20,000 to $90,000. Conservatively, over $2 million in lost revenue. $2 million. While I paid her $55,000 a year. I called my lawyer. Sent him the email archive. He reviewed it for 2 days. James, this is egregious, he said. She used her position as your assistant to intercept business opportunities, diverted them to her own competing company, used your infrastructure, your reputation, your client relationships. This is breach of fiduciary duty, theft of business opportunities, possibly fraud. What do? We confront her, document everything, terminate her employment. Then we decide whether to pursue legal action. I scheduled a video call with Sarah. Didn't tell her why. Just said we needed to discuss some business matters. She appeared on screen. Smiling. Professional. What's up? I need to ask you about something. Are you running a consulting business? Her smile faltered. Just for a second. What do you mean? Chun Strategic Solutions. Is that your company? Pause. I do some freelance work on the side. You knew that. I didn't, actually. You never mentioned it. And it's not really freelance work when you're using client inquiries meant for my business. I don't know what you're talking about. I shared my screen, showed her the emails, the forwarding patterns, the proposals sent under her company name. Her face went pale. James, I can explain. Please do. You were always too busy. Clients would call, and you were booked. I didn't want to turn away good work. So I referred them to myself. I was helping yourself to my client, using my business email, my company name, my reputation. That's not fair. I did good work for those clients. Using opportunities you stole from me, while I paid you to manage my business. I wasn't stealing. You couldn't have taken those projects anyway. You were already fully booked. I was only fully booked because you weren't bringing me new clients. You were diverting them to yourself. Sarah's expression hardened. I built my own business, with my own work, my own clients. Clients who came to me first, through my referrals, my reputation, inquiries to my company email. This is ridiculous. You're just jealous that I'm successful. Sarah, you're fired. Effective immediately. I'm terminating your access to all company systems. You'll receive your final paycheck, but nothing more. And depending on what my lawyer recommends, we may be pursuing legal action. You can't sue me. I didn't do anything illegal. We'll see what a court says. I ended the call. Immediately changed all passwords, revoked her system access, secured the email servers. Then I went through the entire archive, documented every diverted inquiry, every forwarded email, every stolen opportunity. My lawyer filed a lawsuit 3 weeks later. Breach of fiduciary duty, theft of business opportunities, unjust enrichment. We sued for $2 million in damages plus attorney fees. Sarah's response was to countersue, claiming I owed her unpaid wages, overtime, and that I'd created a hostile work environment by monitoring her email. Her attorney argued that Sarah had a right to pursue her own business, that the inquiries she forwarded were ones I couldn't have handled anyway, that she'd built her own client base through hard work. My attorney destroyed that argument with the email logs, showed that Sarah had deliberately misrepresented my availability, told clients I was too busy when I wasn't, quoted inflated prices to make her services look cheaper, actively steered business away from me while acting as my employee. Discovery revealed even more. Sarah had been copying my proposal template, my client strategies, my pricing models, everything I'd developed over 12 years. She'd taken it all and repackaged it as her own. We also found her financial record. Churn Strategic Solutions had generated over $1.8 million in revenue over 3 years, almost all of it from clients who had originally contacted my business. The case went to mediation after 8 months. The mediator reviewed the evidence and turned to Sarah's attorney. Your client was employed as an assistant. She had a fiduciary duty to act in her employer's best interest. Instead, she systematically diverted business opportunities for personal gain. The email logs are damning. Every forwarded inquiry, every client she steered away, all while receiving a salary and benefit. How do you defend this? Sarah's attorney had no good answer. The mediator recommended settlement. Sarah would pay $650,000, roughly a third of the revenue she generated from stolen opportunities. She'd also sign a non-compete agreement. Couldn't solicit any clients who had originally inquired to my business. We settled. The money wasn't everything I'd lost, but it was something. And more importantly, the non-compete destroyed her business model. Without access to my client pipeline, Churn Strategic Solutions had nothing. After the settlement, I had to rebuild. Reached out to clients Sarah had diverted. Explained what happened. Many were shocked. Some were angry. A few came back. We thought we were working with your company the whole time, one client said. Sarah used your name, your reputation. We never would have hired her otherwise. I also changed how I operated. No more remote assistants with full access to everything. Any new hire would have limited permissions, supervised access to client communications, regular audit, and I learned to handle more administrative work myself. It was tedious, time-consuming, but at least I knew it was being done right. Sarah's business collapsed within 6 months of the settlement. Without her pipeline of stolen inquiries, she had nothing. I heard through mutual connections that she'd gone back to executive assistant work. Different industry, lower pay. The lawsuit cost me almost $80,000 in legal fees. The settlement gave me $650,000. After taxes and expenses, I netted about $400,000. But the real cost was trust. 3 years of thinking I had a great assistant, when really I had a parasite, feeding off my business, using my infrastructure, my reputation, my relationships. Everyone had told me how lucky I was to have Sarah, and for 3 years I believed them. Now I know better. I'll handle it doesn't always mean what you think it means. Sometimes it means I'll steal it. And the perfect assistant? Sometimes she's perfect at hiding what she's really doing. The email server logs didn't lie. 3 years of systematic theft. Every forwarded inquiry. Every diverted opportunity. Every stolen client. All documented. All provable. Sarah thought deleting emails from her inbox meant destroying the evidence. But server backups keep everything. Every message sent. every action logged, every crime documented. She was on top of everything, everyone said. They were right. She was on top of my client list, my business opportunities, my revenue stream. Just not for me. For herself. And she would have gotten away with it if I hadn't decided to migrate email providers, if I hadn't exported that archive, if I hadn't been curious enough to browse through 3 years of messages. That curiosity cost Sarah her business, her settlement, her reputation, and it taught me the most expensive lesson of my career. Trust, but verify. Especially when someone says, "I'll handle it." Because sometimes what they're really handling is your business, piece by piece, client by client, until there's nothing left but a server full of evidence and a lawsuit that ends their scheme. Sarah Churn handled it all right, for 3 years, until the day the server logs revealed exactly what she'd been handling. My business, my clients, my future, all while I paid her salary and told everyone how lucky I was. Lucky, right?